I'd love to introduce you to Dan and Leah Nel. And Dan is going to be filling the role of associate pastor here at MAC. And he will be, him and Leah will be looking for a place here in Morden. And we want to be able to do a little bit of Q&A so that you guys can get to know them and they can get to know you, or look forward to getting to know you anyway. So one of the big things that I loved how, as we have gotten to know each other a bit, is your story is a prime opportunity for people to become bitter and defensive and jaded when things go sideways and disappointment happens and you get let down along the way. But that isn't what happened with you. I'd love for you to be able to let us know a bit. How did you guard against becoming so jaded or bitter when that is prime opportunity to become so?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Well, like we said in our story as well, one of the things Leah and I decided right away was to lean into each other, lean into our faith, lean into God. This was after Cyrus passed away. And then as the seasons progressed, there was a lot of things that you heard in our story. But the main thing I think that has been a really good practice for us, that has kept our hearts centered on good things and God's goodness and faithfulness into our lives, has been this practice of gratefulness that we kind of started into, where every day when we're together, or like if we worked or we came home or whatnot, sometimes in the evenings we'd sit together and we would share 7 things that we're grateful for, each of us. And we'd give some thought to it. We try not to have just like fluff things, although sometimes they are fluff things, but we try to give some thought to it. And then we also had share your moment of glory for the day, share a moment of gratefulness, and then also to give voice to one moment of defeat that you had that day. And that practice for us, we've been doing it for the last few years now, every single day. It really takes you out of your day, even if you had a bad day. It takes you and it focuses your heart posture on God and His goodness. And that's one thing that we did, and we're still doing. Is there something you want to add?
About how not to be bitter? I think it's like something that it's like in progress all the time, of like learning also how to like forgive and reconcile in a good way. So we've read quite a few books about forgiveness and like tried to live into some of those principles, but it's not like something that happens overnight. It's kind of like you say that you forgive someone, but it doesn't necessarily match your feelings right away. And so like some days we just have to like continue to forgive if like more things come up that cause us to feel angry or difficult. So it's still like in progress thing, I think.
Yeah, and of course we went to counseling and did a lot of reading together and praying together and journeying with people close to us through that season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, there's lots of opportunity when something happens to retreat and to hide. And I just want to affirm and let you guys know how good it is to see people like demonstrate talking about the hard things and the hurt that happens in your life. And for unfortunately, too many churches talking about those hard things is always off limits, where you need to at least have a certain level of appearance of having your life put together. And how have you found leading? You've been so very open and transparent with not having your life put together at times. How have you found what that looks like modeling vulnerability and seeking restoration along the way?
I think modeling, like being vulnerable and honest, is something that sort of happened because of the situation we found ourselves in. It wasn't something that I had given a lot of thought to before, although like we want people to be honest. You don't want people to wear masks. You want to have authenticity.
Well, you can wear masks in the right way now.
Yes.
Wear your masks.
We want people to wear COVID masks.
Yes.
But I think for me anyway, it was kind of when you experience like a trauma or a grief like that, it almost like takes away your filter for like nonsensical things. And so you just become very like real in the things you say, as well as like how you like tell people your story. Although we did guard our story, and we made sure, you know, like we told people, because I think from our story you heard a lot of the hurts that we described. And so in the beginning, like there's trust issues, and you don't want to just share your story with anyone. But I think authentically with people that we trusted, and slowly then with other people, we started to just tell our story more and become more comfortable and real in sharing it as well.
Yeah. One of the things, like your story is not who you are. That's obviously not your identity, but it is definitely is part of who you are today. It's helped shape you and mold you to be the type of person that you are today. How do you feel that your story has or is being used by God to uniquely equip you for ministry?
You know, during this like pandemic that's been going on now for more than a year, I can see how this season coming back into ministry and our story and kind of the things that we've been through has equipped me to be someone who can really walk with people through like trauma and grief and just like losing things. And so I think that's one way God will use us both in this season. And coming into ministry is just being an ear and a shoulder for people, and also being able to walk with people through intense life situations, people being marginalized or people having just journeyed through like grief. And so that kind of that mantle of authority that we have now, because we've really experienced it in a raw way. But also God has just, I think, softened my heart. I really think that I love differently. I love better than I used to. I understand the meaning of grace a lot more, both having grace for me and having grace for others. So I think going into ministry, that's something that God will definitely use to for His glory, I believe, yeah.
Very cool. No, ministry and leadership is never a solo endeavor. We just know that spouses also share a load of ministry that comes with it. And I know that you guys have ministered together, and that's part of your story and kind of being able to play to your strengths. Both of you there. Leah, I'd love for you to be able to share, what is some of the things that you have as a heart for ministry, and when it comes to being in the church and using the gifts that God has given you and to minister in ways?
Before Dan and I met, I've experienced a call to ministry in my life prior to going to Ambrose University College in Calgary, and that's where we met. And so I've always felt a call to ministry on my life, and every season I think of my life that has looked different. I do have certain passions and desires that I think can be used for God's glory anywhere. I love to teach, and I teach a grade 6 right now, and I love to talk about Jesus and His powerful presence in my life and in the world, and I hope to share that, share my faith and pass it on through discipleship. Often I've had the opportunity in the last few years to disciple children, but I think that can look different moving forward depending on the season that we're in. And so I guess we'll just prayerfully, I'll consider what God is calling me to do as we move here as well. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I have a heart to serve God, and I'll serve Him in whatever way moving forward.
Yeah. And there's also there's a Morden connection already, even before you guys coming here, when you were feeling a call to ministry in doing a discipleship school, right? So why don't you let us know what that connection is for you guys?
Okay, so I was doing an internship, and it was an intercultural internship at Ambrose, And I was actually set up to go to Quebec City. And at the time, the Alliance Ministries weren't doing from sea to sea yet. There was still the Q team, the Quebec team was living in Quebec. And so I know Richard and Marinda. And I got to spend quite a bit of time with them during the season that I was there. I was helping to set up a pregnancy care center in Quebec City. And so I got to spend a lot of time with them, and they're very dear to me.
Yeah.
So I love them a lot. I'm really excited that we're going to get to see them.
Yeah, that's really cool. That, like, what a small world that we have, that you already have that relationship built with them, and having Richard and Marinda part of our church here, which is going to be really exciting to have you guys and them back in town. So that's really fun. I'd love for you guys to talk about a little bit about where do you find the most joy in ministry? What's happening around you? What is God doing that that kind of catch you up and like, yeah, this is what I was made for. This is what I love being a part of. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of that passion that you guys have?
Yeah, for me, some of my gifting is in sort of vision casting, apostolic gifting, and so seeing the church's vision move forward, like rallying people up to understand and to be equipped for that mission, getting people to be a part of the journey of that mission, to have a voice in that vision as well. Those kind of things just really fire me up. So discipleship, I can see where there's areas of ministry that I'm like, yes, this is really awesome, and I feel God moving a lot in those giftings. I love music, and being a support in that ministry here will be awesome, and just looking forward to working with small group ministries as well. I really like, I think, just being with people and listening to people and counseling people, and like I said before, like being a shoulder and a ear to hear and listen to is something that I really love to do with people.
Yeah. Leah, what about you? Is there something in ministry that you get that you find the most joy in either watching or being a part of?
Well, I do have a lot of joy, as I said, in teaching.
Yeah.
And so I've loved to teach children is a great joy to me. But I also love discipling and mentoring women. And I am passionate about fitness, which is an interesting one. But I have hope to start a fitness ministry in life.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I feel passionate about. And yeah, I don't know.
That's great. Now, obviously, there's so much more to life than just doing the ministry and other things. And so at the end of a long day, when you guys are tired and need to recharge, what's the activity or the thing that you just gravitate to that helps top up your tank when you need to be topped up?
We both love our dog, a lot. So just spending time with...
And he's just a small one, right?
Yes, Bruce is a 130-pound small dog. He's a bit of a house horse, actually, and he's very loving and very friendly. I just get so much joy when I see him, and so that we just come home to him and spend time with him. We love spending time outside in the yard, doing gardening, and when it's warm. Leah's more one to go outside for pleasure in the winter time than myself. Growing up in South Africa, that was something I wasn't used to, and still am not really, but I try. We love music, we listen to music, we love movies, we love reading books, listening to audiobooks together, and reading to each other as well.
Yeah, we just finished the Vinyl Cafe Unplugged book by Stuart McLean, which is a very good one.
Yeah.
And we love to chuckle and read short stories together, and we have lots of to ourselves pastimes at this time during COVID, but we actually love to hang out with people too. We'll just have to, Yeah,
we love hosting people, just sharing over a meal and laughing together. We love to laugh a lot, so hopefully we'll get to laugh with all of you a lot because it's good for the soul.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be nice to have another biker on staff. You know, as you guys know, I enjoy biking, and Dan, you also enjoy biking, right?
Yes,
I think we even like the same outfits that we wear, or is it different biking?
Mine's leather.
Okay.
Mine's leather, not skin tight, probably. A little less chafing,
Yeah.
potentially. I do like to ride my motorcycle, so that's definitely something that gives me a lot of enjoyment. Scares Leah a little bit, so I have to. She likes to ride, just more like my safety. I mean, when I'm riding. So yeah.
And you have a neat connection with motorcycle ministry as well. Is that right? Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about what that has looked like?
Yeah. So I'm currently involved with a motorcycle club called Disciple Christian Motorcycle Club, and I go to Saskatoon sometimes, where the closest clubhouse to here is, and I just journey with those guys. And it's a ministry, it's a bike ministry or motorcycle ministry that disciples men in a daily word and prayer, and we spend a lot of time praying for the 1% world in motorcycle world.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool thing.
Very cool. All right, let's do a couple rapid fire things. Would you rather watch television or movies?
Movies.
Movies, 2000s and earlier, probably, I would have said that, but a lot of shows nowadays are really, really well done. So, and I like that they keep going, so there's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm kind of leaning towards shows right now.
Yeah. Would you rather be by the ocean or in the mountains?
Can it be both?
No, it can't be both.
The mountains.
The mountains.
Yeah. Would you rather have a wonderful main dish or amazing dessert?
Definitely a main dish for me.
Main dish for me too, yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather read the book or watch the movie?
Watch the movie.
Read the book.
Any other rather ones? I always like the one, would you rather, if you're going to do would you rather, this could be in the bonus. This is the bonus question. Would you rather cry vinegar or sweat mayonnaise?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with the vinegar. I would be so slippery if I did the mayonnaise thing.
Mayonnaise? I don't know.
Just being hugged with you wouldn't get any hugs from me if you were sweating mayonnaise.
Oh, that's a gross one. We'll switch back. Dan, you mentioned that you grew up in South Africa. Can you give us a little snapshot of how life got you from South Africa to Canada?
Yeah, I was 11 when we immigrated to Canada from South Africa. We lived in a suburb of Johannesburg called Linden. And my parents I have 3 siblings, and my parents at that time, they were looking for a place to take us to kind of have a better future and a better, safer life. I think there's a lot of crime and a lot of corruption and just really scary things in South Africa. So I think at that time they chose a good time because it was still fairly easy to get out of the country at that time in terms of your paperwork and stuff like that. So my parents decided Canada was the place to come, and I was 11, and we moved initially from like I said, the Johannesburg area to Newmarket, Ontario, which is where we ended up. And I went to high school there, finished elementary school, then high school. And so, yeah, that was South Africa for 11 years for me anyway.
Yeah. And then it was kind of funny. You went from Newmarket to Ambrose, is that right? And then your parents followed shortly thereafter.
Yeah, my my parents drove me from Ontario to Calgary, like with their trailer, our camping trailer. And so we camped along the way, and they just like really loved Alberta when we got there. The climate, it's not so humid there. The beautiful mountains and everything. They just kind of were like, wow, like we live in Ontario. It's super busy, lots of traffic. Just it was a less busy city, and they loved it. So that's how they ended up deciding a year later to move to Calgary as well.
So that's where they still are.
Yes, my parents came with my younger sister, who was still living with them at the time, and then my older sister, who's a nurse. She finished her degree at Ryerson in Toronto, and then a year later she came out.
Yeah.
And then within a couple of years, my brother sold everything he owned and rode his motorcycle from Ontario to Calgary as well, with a few of his friends, and they kind of made Calgary their home too. So.
Wow. And Leah, where is home for you as you grew up?
I grew up on a farm in Alberta. So my dad is still farming. And one of my sisters is in Calgary. She's a nurse. And then I have another sister who lives in Vernon. And I have some uncles and aunts in Vernon as well. So, well, actually one uncle. I'll be specific. And my grandma's there as well. So, or not Vernon, but in BC area. So it's like Alberta, BC. That's where the majority of my family are. And then I have some family in the States.
I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit about what is it about this position or Mac in general that kind of caught your eye, that got you interested about what it might be to join us or to move to Morden, Manitoba, and to be a part of what's happening here. What kind of things got you excited about this position and get you excited about being a part of this community?
Yeah, so Leah and I had been praying, like I said in our story, for a little while about when God was going to take us back into ministry, and just keeping a kind of a loose eye on ministry positions. And I came across the Morden position one day, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, this looks like it was kind of created for me, because administratively, I'm very gifted, and just the ministry piece of the position as well really fits with who I am and the things that really kind of get my wheels spinning. And so when we saw it, we prayed about it for like a week or two before I applied.
Yeah.
And then, just meeting you guys and the team, everybody here, just a really, really cool place to be, and just love what you guys are doing here at Mac. The town just feels really like homey and welcoming, and like there's life here. And so that was a draw for us as well, as we were like praying and discerning. And and I'm just excited about the ministry opportunities here as well, in the role that I will be coming on into. Specifically, just when we came and had the tour and all the different spaces in this building, you go from one like area to another and you're like, whoa, like it just keeps going. And there's so many cool spaces, and a part of the role is to kind of, breathe life back into some of those spaces and to oversee the projects that, take shape for those spaces, for existing ministry and new ministry and outreach ministry as well. So there's just so much opportunity for that really excites me. And then the small group piece as well really just excites me as well, to see what God's going to do like post-COVID. Like when people can get together again and like shake hands and potentially hug again and not have masks on,
Yeah.
So even now, yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to add to that?
I don't know. I think you pretty much covered it. Like, also there's a dinosaur, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce the dinosaur.
Yeah.
We learned
Dog's name is Bruce.
our dog's name is Bruce, yeah. So we thought that was kind of like, whoa.
Providential.
And there's a Dairy Queen like across the street.
I have had many lunches at the Dairy Queen across the street. It's walking distance, and you can get your food and come back pretty quickly. This is kind of a weird question to ask because it can sound a little bit like bragging when you answer it, but I think it's really important to own the things that God has given us. And I'd love for you to tell a little bit about where do you find that God works through you? Maybe it's circumstances with people, maybe it's the use of certain gifts or spiritual gifts in that way, but where do you find that God is working through Dan and through Leah? Like what kind of environments or situations is he doing, working through you in that?
I'm going to answer that question for Leah.
Okay, that's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah. God works through her a lot in encouraging people and walking alongside people through obviously like really hard things, but also the good seasons. And I've seen her be like just a warrior and an encourager for a lot of like our family members and also just like friends. She speaks life into the room when she comes into it. She's not as loud as I am. She's a quieter person, but her ministry of presence is so felt when she's with you and when she sits with you when you need it the most. She's amazing with children, with girls and women. They often will just like want to hear, what does Leah have to say about this or that, and she's very wise and speaks a lot of truth into my life even, and sometimes tells me when I shouldn't be doing things, which is really good because like I said before, I can be a kind of a bit of a hooligan, but she's really reined me in. So that's awesome. She's really good at loving people, like hospitality and just like generously giving and just, yeah.
I'll answer for him.
That sounds good.
Okay. So the way I see God move through Dan is like a lot of ways. You are so generous and loving towards people as well. I think that, so there's this little girl that's very dear to us, the daughter of our dear friends, and she draws like us pictures every time we go to visit. And every time she draws a picture of Dan, like every single time, it's like this, like she's not very old, she's like 4, and she always will draw him, and in the middle he'll have like this great big heart. And I'm like, this is the most like accurate portrait of Dan I've ever seen, because he's like really loving and generous and kind and willing to serve the people around him. And I have seen God move in like amazing ways through Dan's life and ministry, and one of the ways that I've seen it is he's great at casting vision. So you are great at casting visions, and basically it's like he has the ability to know what the next step is for each point in the journey so that it gets from here to where it needs to be. And I call that the way of the ant, like one step at a time. You just get like one little piece, and so a lot of times when we have an idea for something, it's like, it's a really good idea, but like, how do you get there? And I've seen in our life together, Dan's ability to kind of like see a vision, and then it's like, okay, this is the next step, and this is the next step, and it actually comes to fruition. And I'm so grateful. Like, it's amazing to see how God uses him like that. And he's also extremely gifted, like musically, which is a huge blessing to the people around him. It's very encouraging to hear your songs, and you're great at making people laugh, which is awesome.
Yeah. What's the thing that you're most looking forward to about this next season of life?
I had to rein in my thoughts there because I was going to say Dairy Queen being across the street. I'm just kidding. No, I'm genuinely like really excited to be joining this team, working alongside the staff here. All the people we've met so far on staff are just super real and genuine, and I love that the staff have a really good sense of humor, and just like I can really see God's like hand in the way you guys are a family. Same with the board as well. The people I've met, I'm super excited, like I said, about the ministry aspect of my job as well, that I'll be stepping into. as well as the administrative piece. Like, I know for some people that might sound really nerdy, and maybe I don't look at when you see me like I'm an administrative, but I kind of geek out on spreadsheets and like.
Bless your heart.
Yes, bless my heart. I mean, I don't know if I'm like a master spreadsheet builder, but I certainly love it when a good spreadsheet comes together and you see just things working.
I'm so glad that you're joining the team.
Yeah.
That is not my wheelhouse.
So, yeah, and I just love, like I said, like rallying people together and encouraging people and coaching and breathing life into places that and hearts and minds that just need life breathed into them or it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we're really excited about adding you to the team, and we've gotten to know you a couple times through coming down to Morden, and just really excited to be able to introduce you guys to you online, and when we can actually gather in person. I know many of you will want to be able to welcome Dan and Leah to Morden and get to know them a little bit better. And this next season with COVID, we're just waiting for restrictions to kind of lift in the best way so we can make some plans that feel a bit more concrete instead of changing week to week. But it also means that there's a whole lot up in the air on your end as well. How can we as a church be praying for you in this next season between now and whenever we're able to gather and be here in person? What are some of the things we can be praying for you about?
Yeah, like both Leah and I are, we're finishing where we are right now in our current places of work. So just to pray that we would finish well and leave those places in a good place. We would like to sell our home to move closer. We're about an hour west of here right now, so ultimately we would love to live in Morden and get here as soon as we can. To just be a part of the community, and that's just like what we love. Like we love when we moved from Cochrane to Calgary and close to the church, the same thing. So if you could pray that our house would sell. We kind of live in the boonies, so we're not sure how quickly our house is going to sell. But so if you could pray that God would like release us from where we live and prepare a place for us here too, because we love our home. It's like our dream home, and we know that God has greater things in store for us. So if you can just pray for the sale of our home as well as just like what He's preparing here for us as well. Yeah. And then just the new addition coming to our family as well here pretty soon. Very soon, actually.
Very soon? Yeah.
Yes. Do you have things you would like prayer for?
I just think the transition and that things would, just like all the things that you said, that was like really good and concise. I think we have like a lot of transition ahead. Yeah. And it's moving can be a little stressful. So just like prayer that it would go really well, and that as smoothly as a move can go, and also we are expecting, so that would be a good experience to move with a tiny child with us as well.
You're expecting mid-July, right?
Yes. So that's really soon.
So out of all the list of the high-stress things in life, you guys are tackling like 3 of them all at the same time, with buying and selling a home and moving and welcoming a new addition to the family. So there's lots that we can be praying for in Dan and Leah's life and their story. So we're really excited to be welcoming them here, and I trust that you guys will give Dan and Leah the most warm Morden Alliance Church welcome as you can. Dan will be joining us. First day in the office will be early July 5th, and give him a little bit of time to kind of orient himself with the church and with the community a bit, and then having some time off when baby comes. And then hopefully we're praying, Lord willing, that they'll be able to move and be a part of us sooner than later. We'll be trying to figure out some of those logistics. And thankfully we're in a season where working remotely is possible, but we do want to be praying that we can kind of see Dan and Leah join us in person here as we look forward to gathering together.